My husband, 44, male, told me he wished I-37 female was dead instead of his first wife. I'm devastated. My husband, 44, male, told me he wished I-37 female was dead instead of his first wife. I'm devastated. My husband Nick was married to his first wife, Vanessa, for 5 years, and they had two amazing kids, Luke 15 and Lila 13 female. Sadly, Vanessa died in an accident 11 years ago when the kids were very young. I started dating Nick 8 years ago, and we started off very slowly for obvious reasons. Nick has always been a little more distant than anyone I'd ever been with. But he and the kids lost Vanessa so young that I understood it. After 3 years of dating, Nick asked me to marry him and I moved in. I've always had a really great relationship with Luke and Lila, and they were happy for me to marry their dad. I had wanted an actual wedding, nothing big, but Nick really didn't want one, so we got married at a courthouse with just Luke and Lila present. We had a really fast engagement, but it worked for all of us. I have loved being Luke and Lila's stepmom and officially adopted them after I found out I was pregnant with our son, Cassie, 2 male. The kids have been so great with Cassie and help out so much. Nick was wonderful during the pregnancy and had always been a really loving dad and husband. But Nick has been pulling away a lot of the last few months. Has been even more distant than usual and working late nights and going away with friends almost every weekend. I've tried talking to him, but he's been impatient with both me and the kids. I found out I was pregnant in June, and I'm now 21 weeks pregnant with a girl. The kids are excited to have a little sister, but Nick just seems so indifferent to everything and everyone. He's been missing soccer games, Lila's birthday, doctor's appointments, etc. Cassie is too young to notice, but Luke and Lila are so hurt by their dad's absence. These kids are so good, and they lost their mom so young, and I'm infuriated that Nick is ignoring the kids like this. Last week, I finally sat Nick down and told him that he needs to stop disappearing and be more present in our lives. We're going to have another child soon, and before we know it, Luke and Lila will be grown up and going to college. After an hour of arguing, he screamed at me that he wished Vanessa was still alive and that I had switched places with her and died instead. He also threw in some awful comments that I need to stop pretending I am Luke and Lila's real mom, and that I'm only half the mom Vanessa was. The final straw was him saying that he never even wanted any kids with me, but did it so I'd keep busy and leave him alone. I'm so being hurt right now. I know I'm just a second choice, but I've always tried to honor Vanessa and tell Luke and Lila how lucky they were to have her as their mom. I love all of our kids more than anything, and I'm just so heartbroken. Nick barely pays attention to Cassie now and doesn't even acknowledge the pregnancy. He somewhat apologized this weekend and took all 3 kids to lunch, but he won't even look me in the eye. It seems like he wants to talk, but he doesn't say anything, and I'm too upset to even be near him. I'm not sure where to go from here. Honestly, I can't even be around Nick right now, and if there weren't any kids involved, I'd leave and never look back. I'm not sure if he's cheating or the thought of a 4th child is stressing him out, but I'm devastated and not sure how or why I should save this marriage. Besides doing it for the kids, Any advice is desperately needed right now.
Oh man. This is so fucking heart-wrenching, and I honestly just want to give you a hug right now. You've got so much on your plate. In your shoes, I think I would tell him that he has a choice between therapy and divorce. Get yourself into therapy as fast as you can. You've had your heart shattered by someone you love. You've been parenting alone. You're facing the possibility of a divorce. Even if you do couples counseling, individual therapy needs to happen. My only other piece of advice for you is to not leave the house. If it comes down to it, leaving can affect the divorce. Actually, no, I have another piece of advice for you. Consult with a divorce attorney now, even if you're not sure you're going to go through with it, to get an idea of what you need to do during this period. He has 2 kids with Vanessa, and he's going to have 2 kids with you. Do you think he feels resentful because his new life is taking over his old life? I can imagine that it hurts him tremendously to realize his ex-wife is a distant memory, and I can see how your new baby will serve as a physical reminder of how the years have passed. This could be a huge stretch. I'm just speculating what my concern would be if I was in your husband's shoes. It's possible he feel very guilty and disloyal because he moved on and built a new life, so he's lashing out on the person who helped him build this new life. I do want to say what you've done is amazing in that you helped to rebuild a home without disrespecting their bio mom's memory, and I have no doubt you've been an awesome mom to your children. You do not deserve such hurtful words, and whatever his reason, I don't think I would be able to forget them. I really hope the best for you guys. He is looking at the past through rose-colored glasses, a 5-year relationship that tragically ended years ago. It can be easy to forget all the times you were frustrated with a person. It takes work to stay in love, to merge a family, to help people through deep heart-rending grief. For him to say that you aren't half the woman his first wife was, is cruel. Who knows how Vanessa would have dealt with a partner who is being cruel and terrible like your husband is? You are competing with a memory. One thing that sticks out to me is that your child is 2, and that 11 years ago your stepdaughter would have been 2. I wouldn't be shocked if a milestone like that has kicked up a lot of feeling about her death. Since this behavior has started up, have there been any other milestones, kids' birthdays, deceased wife's birthday, their anniversary of dating or marriage, when they found out they were expecting, etc., that could have exacerbated any issues he was having? He said he wished you were dead. That's scary as fuck, especially if he's emotionally unstable right now. I don't know how any amount of grief or depression could excuse that, or how you could ever work past what he's said. You've also said you were never his first choice. Your husband of 11 years shouldn't make you feel like that. Don't forget hiring the kids too. If you're worried about losing the kids, I also just wanted to add, because a lot of people have wrong ideas about adoption, you will get custody if you fight for it, because they're legally yours. Good luck, you're a great mother and person. He's had it hard losing his first wife, yes. And perhaps it's stressful and painful for him, and that is, of course, understandable. However, I cannot imagine a situation where it is ever acceptable to tell your loving spouse that you wish she was dead instead of your late wife. This is beyond childish. This is not okay, no matter what he himself is feeling. Beyond this, he only kind of apologized? If you let him get away with this kind of behavior now without repercussion or action, then you're only going to become his emotional punching bag. I'm not saying you need to leave him right now, but I think you should seriously consider the possibility that this relationship is not good for you. Yes, he clearly needs help of some sort, but you are not obligated to just sit back and let him treat you like garbage in the meanwhile. My mom died and my dad remarried. If he ever said this to my stepmom, I myself would disown him forever until he offered the apology of a lifetime that showed full self-awareness and shame. Grief may be the explanation for his actions, but it is not an excuse whatsoever. I want you to internalize this. Everything that's happening is a reflection on who he is. It says nothing about who you are at all. His memories are outweighing reality, and his lack of self-awareness about this has caused him to lose a complete grip on everything, to the point of cruelty. If I were in your position, the next thing I would look forward to is the day you and him behave civilly, for the sake of your children, with all other vestiges of your relationship kept in the past where they belong. But I'm just an outsider with limited info who doesn't actually have to live your life, so what do I know? I'm sorry he did this though. Sincerely. My first thoughts were guilt and fear. You're having kids at the same age gap as the first wife, and it feels like history is repeating itself. Nick is so fucking terrified that he'll have to go through that loss again, but at the same time, building a new life feels disrespectful to Vanessa. So, he lashes out at you, so he's not losing you, he's choosing something else, and absolving his guilt about moving on at the same time. ALL, obviously a god-awful shitty fuckface thing to do to his wife. Absolutely not an excuse, and I can't tell you what course would make you happy long term. What I can tell you is that, if I die and leave my young children without a mother, there is nothing I'd ever want more than for my babies to be loved as you have taken in Luke and Lila. I 1000% promise you that, if Vanessa were able to, she'd be raging at and disgusted with Nick even more than you are.